Nisambula Vinaka, Fiji, and a warm welcome to this week's episode of Speak Your Mind. I'm Louise Kaunisela. On Thursday, the 1st of October, we mark the International Day of Older Persons. It was on the 14th of December 1990, the United Nations General Assembly designated this day to promote awareness on the care and respect of our senior citizens in the country. My guests today are from the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, the Principal Welfare Officer of the Old People's Unit, and this is Mrs. Ndilitiana Mbale-Nambuli, and the Chairperson of the Pierce Home Board and Executive Director of Asia Pacific Forum on Family, Hassan Khan. Welcome to the both of you to Speak Your Mind. Bula Vinaka, right. So before we actually start, I've always said that I really wanted to actually have an interview with Hassan Khan, and finally I get to actually interview you. So maybe you'd like to tell us a brief story about yourself, please, Khan, Mr. Khan.
Really, my journey in this area of community service started in earnest in 1970. Before that I was involved in Apex Club of Lambasa in the 60s and Fiji Muslim Youth Organization, and that kept me very busy in community work. And then when I say journey really began in 70 was because that year it was the Fiji independence year for Fiji.
Exactly, 1970.
Yeah.
So you have clear memories of the actual day?
Yes, I have clear memories because I was honored with the medal, Fiji Day medal for independence.
Oh.
And that more or less geared me to this. I was working voluntarily, but I was working as a radiographer with the Ministry of Health.
Oh, okay.
And posted in various places. So. And straight after that medal, I was posted to Lautoka, where I started the Lautoka District Council of Social Services, the Lautoka District Youth Council, and got involved in many community activities. And one thing I remember very clearly was the group there was a person in FEA called William Gonilevu. So worked with him, and they were about to chop down all those rain trees along that near the roundabout. They were all going to be chopped, widening the road. We did a demonstration there and said, no, don't cut the trees, move the road. So they moved the road where it is now.
Oh, great!
We saved the trees.
Lovely. I would agree with you.
That was one of the big achievements of our time, because nobody thought. And now this is where I also thank late Honorable Saitora, who came and supported us on that. He was a minister for forest and something.
Oh, okay.
And so he supported us, and he said, it's a very good idea. He said, move the road. So replan the road accordingly. So those were, and then from there in the Lambasa programs, and then in Suva, and I worked for Fiji Muslim League. I started work as executive secretary of Fiji National Youth Council. In 74, I left X-ray and joined the community service area, and then after that, I worked executive officer of the Fiji Muslim League for 6 years. And then 87, I started with Fiji Council of Social Services. I was already its president and was with the council for some years. And then later on, when this job offer came, I took it up, and then I worked till I retired in 2013. And within that program, with the Working Council of Social Services, this elderly program for the aging, I started in 1988. That's when we started a program for the elders, community, family pride, and national asset. That was the topic of the seminar.
Okay.
And that caught on. And there was a challenge thrown at us that, it's another seminar where the report will be done and it will be gathering dust. And I told that person, I said, we will make this happen. From that 1988 till 2008, we had this on the national scale with the late Dr. Chikoliveni, who supported us in getting this organized and formed the National Council of Older Persons. And now we have a unit, and because right at that time, 88, we realized that aging would be a big issue.
Mm.
Right from 1972, aging was being flagged by United Nations. The
Right.
first conference called Madrid International Plan of Action was in 1972. Since then, it is revived. So that is my connection with this, and we've been celebrating the International Day of Older Persons for 25 years when I was in Council of Social Services, 1990. So all that children. So I'm really an old with the old people.
Well, that's good. I mean, you make the perfect person
Yeah,
to talk to
yeah,
us today.
yeah.
So we also have the Principal Welfare Officer of the Old People's Unit, Dilitiana. You've been with this unit for a while now?
Thank you, Louis. As Mr. Khan has said, government's radar on older persons in terms of policy became in there was a national aging policy in 2011, and thanks to the advocacy from Mr. Khan and the fleet of supporters behind him lobbying with government,
Yes.
and of course the political will behind it. So we've witnessed the fruition of a national aging policy. We also saw the birth of a legislation for older persons in the form of a National Council of Older Persons, really mandating government to, as an advisory arm to government on matters relating to older persons or aging. And we have the unit based at Suva Street under the Department of Social Welfare.
Okay.
And, it's really working in collaboration to implement the essence of the National Aging Policy. Work in progress, and I think it's very important that we work closely with the advocacy, the advocates, the social services providers, and we are also thankful that we could use this platform to advocate on issues relating to older persons. Thank you, Louis.
Thank you very much, Dilitiana. So it's really good that, Hassan, you have seen fruition from your advocacy work that you've been doing for many years. It must make you feel pretty good.
Yes, very, very happy that, it took a bit of time, but when things take time, they come up well.
Yeah, well, we must thank you for that. I mean, we have a voice for our senior citizens at least. On Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisella. On Thursday, the 1st of October, we mark the International Day of Older Persons, and my guest from the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, the Principal Welfare Officer of the Old People's Unit. And this is Dilitiana Mbalinambuli, and the Chairperson of the Pierce Home Board and Executive Director of Asia Pacific Forum on Family, Hassan Khan. So let's just talk about the theme this year for International Day of Older Persons. What is it? Yeah.
The theme is ageism in the time of COVID-19, challenging discrimination. When one talks about ageism is the assumption we make about people because of their age. When people start talking about another term is ageist. It's a similar term to like sexist and or gender issues. So ageism, you talk about condemn age, like during COVID-19. Age was a very strong factor. People thought that it is mostly senior people died. In some countries, it's real. But in Fiji, for instance, that is not true at all. It's not with the old people. I don't think anybody over 70 died because of COVID. I stand corrected, but I don't think anybody over 70 died because of COVID-19. So it's not real. So that is the challenge. The challenge that get this discrimination faced with throughout the world. Older people were locked up. They're lonely and all that.
It's really
so
sad.
this is why ageism issues have been brought up. And when we talk about ageism, we're talking about prejudice, discrimination, exclusion. Because a person is old, you don't call them in. And as I was talking to you, I want to ask, how many of those who have retired from FBC have been called to come and have a Talanoa session? Right? And
Yes.
I think this is another form of ageism, because they are old.
They
because
tend to be
retired,
ignored.
They are left alone. Oh, so
Yeah.
I retire, you go home.
Without
Yeah,
having the
yeah.
thought that they have a lot
Yeah.
of contribution with the
Yes,
experience
still.
they have and a wealth
the
of
involvement
knowledge.
in community is very strong.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have over the years we've seen in Fiji is the fact that people are looking at the chair. You sitting down, you are so and so. You know that within some 55 you're gonna go. You are 49 now. 6 more years, you out. I'm looking at the chair and I want that chair. Right, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So the moment a person is 55, they pushed out immediately. The chair is taken by somebody younger. That's another form of ageism that is in a lot of time, and people do not respect that. The other thing is that people the use of words. Calling elderly connotes frailty, weakness, sickness. But when you say he's an elder of the community, you put an respect.
Oh,
Older
I
person,
see.
respect. When you use the word older person or seniors,
Older
it
or
gives
senior, yeah.
respect and
Yep.
dignity.
Yeah.
But use of words is very important also at this time, because that's why we were very strong on the renaming of some old people's home. Old people's home was always looked at as people who are just out of society. They're just dumping around.
Yes.
That's why Golden Age home gives more respectability and dignity to the older people. And this is where, this year, this theme is very important for us to realize all that in our work life. And a lot of times, most of the time at the family level, because that is where a lot of, we glorify families. Of course, it is the best place. But that is best place where also we have some of the biggest problems. Abuse of the elderly, abuse of the children, abuse of the woman.
Yeah.
It's at the family level, is more than anything else. So we really need to clear up and purify or sanitize the family. Okay, so
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so true. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I mean, you have a lot of knowledge to share, and it's just not fair that you don't. We're not taken care of as we reach of age. So, what is officially the senior age, or an elder? I'm not going to say the other word. Thank you, Hassan.
It is 60 plus.
Okay, so it's 60
pl-
plus.
60 plus,
Yeah.
you're old. 70 plus is old. 80 plus is very old. That is the WHO and United Nations terminology.
And yeah, my mother always said, "You're only as old as you feel."
Yes, sure.
Right? So
yeah.
try not to be old very quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. My grandfather said he only started to feel old when he was almost 90.
Right, this is again.
It's all in the mind.
The the wisdom of the elderly.
Yes.
That is, we don't experience wisdom of the elderly is not there. There was time when when I was running the program in the Council of Social Services on aged care. We started that in 1990. And one of the questions we asked with the participant, when I say the word old, what comes to your mind? Most of the time people will say sickness, weakness,
Oh,
stick, gray hair.
man.
Then we used to list that down, about 5 or 10. Then that will be negative terms. Well, what about the positive terms? When we look at positive, experience, maturity, friendliness, and wisdom and tradition. They know tradition. They know the traditional medicine and all these things. Higher than that. So we used to compare. So that is when you look at that. I think this one exercise that we need to do at all times to keep reminding us that as we grow old, we are getting wiser, we are getting more knowledgeable. And now more than ever, because of for the flow and in the glut of knowledge there is no excuse for people not knowing things.
True.
Mm.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
you are encouraged to learn right up
Yes,
till the
yes,
very end,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's how you keep your mind sharp as well,
Yeah.
That's
as
right.
as you age.
Yes.
You know, you don't just be slack. Learn, keep learning, keep learning,
Yeah.
and that's how I think you
Yeah,
age
don't
gracefully.
wawa mate. Don't wawa mate.
Don't wawa mate. That's a
You
good
have
one.
to keep active. Eh?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll have to come back for more on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're enjoying the program. We'll be back in a moment. We're back on Speak Your Mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is a live radio talkback show. We have the delayed coverage shown on FBC TV every Tuesday and Wednesday at 11. And if you have something that you'd like to share with us, if you're listening in, you can call 3220906 or 7732906 if you want to share maybe something that, an elder is experiencing at this moment. I know elders do tend to get depressed at times. Maybe you'd like to tell us why?
Yeah, thank you, Luis. If I may, just to answer that question, I think for elders, from the government perspective on policy, we've developed a national aging policy, and the gist of that policy is that we get to promote the inclusion of older persons, the protection of older persons, the healthy aging aspect of older persons, and also the provision of enabling environments for older persons. So if we look at that, it sort of like sums up the approach that we need to care and respect the rights of elders. But I also have viewed a few things online, apart from the ageism bit, which is really the discrimination of older persons. We also need to look at how we also include, protect, and also look at how we address those who are the frontline workers for older persons. And when
Yes.
we look at it from the healthcare perspective, it's the nurses, the doctors, all those that are, for instance, COVID-19 was big, and here in Fiji we're very fortunate that government is at the forefront of keeping that close boundaries to actually prevent and control the infection spread of COVID-19. And so there are those people at the front line who's working shifts, and we take off our hats for them. And likewise, those in the institutional settings, the caregivers, those who manage the homes, those who are at the decision-making level, running boards, really championing the cause to protect, to care and include older persons. But, demographic-wise, for older persons in Fiji, they make up about 80,000 plus of Fiji's population. Around 9% of Fiji's population are considered old.
Well, that's a lot.
That's a
Yes.
lot. That's a lot, yeah.
80,000.
80,000.
And I'd be interesting to know how many of these 80,000 are, not really well off. I think that's where the problem comes in for the elders, is when they are not financially stable.
Yes.
They don't have anything to fall back on, and maybe their children, that's how they put them in the homes. So why do you think there's less respect towards our senior citizens now in this time than in the past?
I think this is largely because of changing of attitude, changing of our behavior, and the lack of, because there has been little emphasis on family and traditional values while people were growing up.
Right.
There has been, to younger people, had too many other things to worry about. To take to get themselves engaged with, like entertainment and friends and sports and things. Whereas in the days gone by, those were the things that mostly you congregated around family in the villages and all that, where interaction was there. So there was a respect, there was little loneliness and all that. But because of and then the family size has been reduced. And I think one of the contributing factors is also the housing policy that has been there. You've been built this multi-story silos where people are there and they don't have room for, apart from the couple and the one or two children, there is no room for anybody else. So where do the older people go? And then they don't have within family connections. They lost that because the families have become nuclear, very small.
Okay,
so older
yes.
people have been left out. And that extended family system in the villages is not there because also of the fact that people have gone out of the villages too. And there's left older people only. In some villages they're very older people, and then you have people old looking after the very old, people in their 60s looking after their parents in their 80s.
Wow.
There are a lot of that is happening now. Old caring for the old, because the young is not there anymore, because we've reduced the number of children. So the family size and that dynamics has played a lot of things on that, and this is why you have depression and loneliness. And there is something where there is a need for community mobilization to bring that, befriending the old elderly and all that. So that will have to come in now. And organizations, particularly the religious organizations, will have to think on those lines, because their congregation is like in my mosque. I go in the morning, every morning I try to the mosque. 9 out of 10 are people over 60.
Oh, okay, praying in the morning.
Yeah, and because most of us think that elderly is the time of praying. When you get old, you're preparing for your day, end of the life, and then you start thinking of God and all that.
Yeah.
But and there is little program in for them, except to keep the church and the mandir and the mosque open. They come and do it, but there is no interaction, right?
Okay.
For them. So then again, they slip into depression and loneliness, which will be very huge problem, not so distant future.
Yeah, because you said that there's 80,000
Yes,
of
yes.
them under the. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a demographic right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why? So I mean, obviously you totally agree with Mr. Khan about why the elder is not getting the respect that they deserve now.
Yes.
I mean, like before. I mean, even if you go in a bus, they won't stand up for a senior citizen.
No more.
I mean, even
Times
for
have
a
changed,
woman, times have changed.
Yeah.
So moral values are not as strong as it used to be.
No more human values, moral, whatever values you call it.
Yeah.
The only value is the values of money.
True, eh? The love is forgotten, eh?
Yes, yes.
Isa. Okay, on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We'll be back in a little while. This is Speak Your Mind on Gold FM, only the classic hits. I'm Louise Kaunisela. Hope you're enjoying the show and also learning a lot from what our guests are talking about as we mark on the 1st of October. That's on Thursday, the International Day of Older Persons. My guest, the Principal Welfare Officer of the Old People's Unit, Dilitiana Mbalenambuli, and the Chairperson of the Pierce Home Board and Executive Director of Asia Pacific Forum on Family. So we are talking about how children are not respecting the elder as they do really deserve. And you've given all the good reasons for it. Thank you very much. And maybe we can talk about the homes that you have. Yes, Dilitiana, I know that we have state homes. How many altogether do we have in the country?
Yeah, thank you, Louis. For us, in government, there's 3 aged care facilities that are administered by government, meaning it's funded and run by government, but we do have boards of visitors. These are the charity arms of the homes that help finance the homes to complement the resources that government provide to run the homes. But apart from those three, we have about 4 other active homes. One is being chaired by Mr. Khan himself, the PS home. There's Housing Assistance Relief Trust Nursing Home. There's also the Home of Compassion and the Father-in-law Home. And also we also get to fund the Sisters of Our Lady of Nazareth Retirement Home.
Okay.
And so we have about, a lot of it is here in the Central Division, and then one each in the Northern and Western Division. But the good thing about it is that when the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation took on the reins to administer the 3 state homes in 2016, the institutional forum, meaning the aged care providers, convened and really championed the bit that we need to have national standards on how we run these homes. So in 2017, there was a national minimum standards that was formulated and agreed upon, and thanks to Mr. Khan and the group of supporters that lobbied for that national minimum standards. But that is really a guideline on how to elevate the standards progressively for the homes. How we what we champion in the inclusion, the protection, healthy aging, and of course the provision of enabling environments for older persons. Those are things that we had put in place in aged care settings, so that whoever wants to probably run a new home, they need to adhere to those standards as well.
Yes.
But what we're seeing for older persons in the 3 state homes, we really need to provide programs, enabling programs, and we get to start with them. We really need to consult them. Our case and care managers need to sit down and do care plans and casework, so that we validate what sort of person we appreciate them for who they are, and what is the rights-based approach of actually confirming that this is probably the right activities for them.
Yes.
And so I think over the years I can confirm that there's been a lot of changes on how we do activities that support the care and the inclusion of older persons in these homes. But during COVID times, I think a lot of them may not be happy. We've had some protocols in place so that we can still champion the prevention and control of COVID. So we're limiting visitors at this stage. At some stage, we only provide the parameters and the schedules that the visitors can come in. But the pandemic is not an excuse where we get to neglect our elders. We still have the rights-based approach of dealing with it. And I'm sure Mr. Khan would have a lot to say on that as well, sir.
Yes, I mean, you are on the board for PS Home. What are your observations of, an elder citizen, senior citizen, I should say? I'm saying the wrong words now.
I'm also a member of the National Council of Older Persons, and work closely with the ministry through that council. One of the things that I think we need to think about very seriously and at the National Council of Older Persons is the need for that standard operation that we have developed for minimum standard for the homes must go down to family level, because if it's good for the home, it's good for home the family home, because that is where also, and we also need to know, I mean, that majority of the people are not in the homes. Older people, the elders, they are at the home, at the family level, or in the community, in the villages.
Yes.
And I think we need to be very mindful of that at the National Council of Older Persons, to have a program that will reach out to them. I know something we have started, like aged care in community, or in family in community care. This is something that I started in 1990 with a group of retired nurses. And that caught on like wildfire, and there's and that needs to be really taken on at a very high level, and that includes the changing of attitudes and behavior of younger people and the elder people. So we need to have that intergenerational connections program that needs to start. And overall, we're looking at the complete holistic well-being, the at retirement with the elders, people healthy, and they are secure, and they are productive. When we say healthy, we mean the total health, the mental health, the social health, and relationship with family, extended family, and all that. And when we're talking about security, we're looking at not only the security at home, but security from burglars and all these people, our security in walking in the streets for the elders and all that. So that is very important. Once they are healthy, they're secure, then they could be more productive in life. Then you can expect them to share their knowledge and wisdom. When a person is struggling to find food to go on the table, he won't be productive because he's always thinking. And this is where depression and other things set in, because they are struggling. And majority of the people, elders, are not well off. They just get by. They just get by. They just get by with the tete in the backyard in the villages. They get by in the urban areas with begging and then family support and children support. We must also realize that children have their own families to look after.
True.
And it's not a burden, but it's an added responsibility to also look after the own.
So we have all these different things that add to the problem that
to the
is
holistic well-being of the elderly. You know, you're looking at the holistic well-being as a totality. Wellness doesn't mean you just I'm well, I don't sick, my throat is clear and all that. But wellness also means my relationship with her and all that thing. So all those things come in. This how we relate to each other. It's very important. And how people relate to the elders. How do we respect them? What dignity do we give them?
Right,
so all those things come in.
Yes, we'll be back soon on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you are enjoying the program and what our guests have to tell us today, and we'll be back soon. Welcome back to Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. We're your only classic hit station in the country. Be sure to tune in. And my guest today, we have the Principal Welfare Officer of the Old People's Unit, Dilitiana Balinambuli, as well as the Chairperson of the Pierce Home Board and Executive Director of Asia Pacific Forum on Family, Hassan Khan. So, what are some of the many issues being faced by our grassroots or poor senior citizens in the country?
The number one would be health, health security. And this includes our hygiene and sanitation and whole package. So health would be the number one. And number two is the financial status. Then the other thing is the social things like family connections, the elderly, and depression and loneliness. And a lot of this, it's very hard to detect, and it's not something that's seen. And because a lot of us at this moment, because we're busy in our own pursuits of life, that we tend to ignore them. And this ignoring is another aspect that is when you look at it hurting the mental status of the elders and the and then when our elders get hurt or are in a problem, we don't realize that it also affects the family eventually somehow or the other because of this ignorance and because of all the other things. So that the need is for the holistic participation and involvement of at the family level into these things, and keeping the giving them the rights of everybody's rights and respecting those boundaries. Then when we respect, then if we involve the older people into these things, we will be able to reduce the other issues that are coming up, like family abuse, wife abuse, and bashing, and all that. So that thing, it's the whole thing is just respect, because people do not respect their elders. People do not respect their children. They abuse them. People do not respect their wife because
Yes.
they marry into, they don't respect, and bully them all the time. And that is where again violence and all this thing comes in. And if we bring in our lives the word respect, and live by respect, respect our religion, respect respect the trees and the flora and the fauna and all those things. Respect has gone out of the window, because you walk in the morning on the seaside, and you see a seawall, and you see the amount of littering that is there overnight, nearly every night. It's there. People don't have respect for the cleanliness of the place. So the word respect is
Fading away.
Fading away. It's not there in a lot of people. So we need to put that word back in our lives. Respect.
Oh, we have to.
We're respecting our children. Respect. People don't respect their bodies, and they put in all the garbage into it, and then die at very young age. And this is why you have so high rise of NCD, because we are not respecting our God-given good health and body.
Yes.
So the word respect has to come in, and we need to see that we put respect in all the relationship that we have.
Yeah.
And once we do that, I think a lot of these problems will go away.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Khan. Now, what would you like to see happen in regards to our senior citizens living a more content life?
Well, what do you want to see? I think we need more intergenerational dialogue and participation and engagement. And again, I come back to the word respect. We're giving people respect, and we talk about respect. We're talking about their meeting their health needs, meeting their financial needs, meeting their social services need, and all those things. So if those 3 or 4 things we take care of, the other things will fall in their place. But we have to start with the basic, the provision of homes by these organizations and the government, 3 homes. It's very good. But if we just make the home and isolate the older people, that also is not good. We need that international generational gap, dialogue and participation and engagement to take place. And the sooner we do it, the better it will be for all of us.
Yes. So, Litiana, how do you think we can teach our children to learn respect, love, and care for our senior citizens, and most importantly, parents?
Yeah, thank you, Louis. I think as alluded to by Mr. Khan, there's erosion in the dynamics in the family. I think it needs to be a multi-sectoral approach to it as well. We need collaboration on that in schools. We need to reinvent the curriculum to see how we can have faith-based coming in to add value. Even the different settings. We have the schools, we have the faith-based community, all those working with families. We need to work together because only when we are united in our vision and mission to create stronger, resilient families and inculcating the values in those spaces. I think it will be a big investment for Fiji. I think it's a revisit of the basics, like Mr. Khan has said. The youth today, in the ministry, every day we're having the young people that are married. They don't want to live with their elders. It's because of the total shift in dynamics of what their priorities are. So we really need to sit them down and make them understand the whole scheme of things here. One day we will also age, and with the way that we are going, we will place more emphasis on the state to look after our elders. So when we're revisiting traditional values and principles, it was there for a function. for a purpose. And the more we deviate from these things, the more chaotic it is.
Yeah.
So I think it needs to be communicated also in the mediums that's acceptable. Sometimes we go out and preach in the tone that like we're telling everybody off. We're going in the community and we think we know it all. But half the battle is lost. So I think for little kids, they're more into cartoons. So why don't you put it in cartoon form so that you put it in the phones, you encourage more talking.
Yes.
Sometimes in families, you're just sitting on the table with your food and the phone, and that's it.
And there's
they call
no
it fellowship.
communication, no
No.
talking.
So really the collaboration needs to come in different levels and also the kind of approaches. We
Yeah.
need to also have respect given so that you can get respect back.
Exactly.
So
It's a
it
two-way
trickles
thing.
right down from policy level right down to the implementation. Sometimes there's a big disjoint between what we talk about at policy level and what's implemented. So the people, all those sectors that are implementing need to be talking a lot more and collaborating. And of course, using our elders themselves to champion the cause for elders.
Especially the championing the family values.
Yes.
You must get in the elders to bring in the
To drive it.
drive the
Yeah,
family
because
values.
elders give such good advice.
Yes, yes.
Because they've lived the life,
Yeah.
they know what kind of advice to give.
Yes.
But I don't think an elder would really want that much from their family. I'm sure it's just that little love, a little room, what they need. I mean, they don't
Yes.
want everything. For you to be driving them here, there. I'm sure that they'd be content with just a little. And I think the love has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, the elders to themselves too must make an effort of respecting everybody else's space.
Okay.
Because
Right.
when they start respecting that, they will get respect back.
Yeah, like not demanding,
No,
just being
yeah,
content
yes,
for the little
yes,
that you
yes,
have,
yeah,
But anyway, we have to end it here now. And just Makin, 1st of October, this Thursday, have
Yes.
you got anything happening for our senior citizens?
Thank you, Louis. I think for government, we've realized that the awareness that we need to do during this time, we need to use the existing platforms. Don't reinvent a wheel. But
Okay.
we do have something in the Northern Division. They have something planned there from the home, Golden Age Home. They're working in partnership with the community.
Yeah.
Likewise, in the Golden Age Home in Lotoka, they're planning something as well.
Okay, that'll
But
be
here in
nice.
Suva, we have something that will be held at the Golden Age Home at Samambula. And because of the restrictions on COVID, we do have a limited quota to get in. But
yes,
we're working
yes.
with the aged care providers and whoever can come on board to be part of that. I think we have an executive in the ministry that will officiate the program
Okay.
just to highlight the key messages.
Yeah, good luck on that. And Hassan, maybe some very
Quick
strong,
one
yes,
is
sure.
International Day of Older Persons is a day for everybody. It's not for government or Hassan Khan or anybody. But
Okay.
it's everybody, every
Every
family.
home.
Every family must start it at their family. The best is doing things at the family level with your own seniors and elders.
Yes, don't forget about them,
Yes.
please. Yes, don't make them be lonely. Don't make
Yes.
them sad because we love our grandparents. I mean, even my great-grandparents. But that's it. Thank you very much from the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation,
Thank you,
the
Lois.
Principal Welfare Officer, Dilitiana Mbalenambuli Vinakavakalevu, and the Chairperson of the Pierce Home. Thank you for your wise words, my friend, and Executive Director of Asia Pacific Forum on Family.
Thank you, and mind the mind.
Yes, mind the mind. The mind controls the body. Always try to have good thoughts. On Speak Your Mind, until next week, Nisamo Demanda, look after yourself, please. Look out for each other, but most importantly, look out for our elders. Nisamo Demanda.